Hello everyone, Johnny Hurricane here from GamersHeroes.com, and today we're going to finally wrap up the sort of into the launch of the next generation fight between Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. Let's get started. Alright, first things first, it has been a little while since I've done a video, but I was not. As far as this thing was concerned, I was not ready to do this until the console prices were announced. They were just announced last week, or a couple days ago actually, and kind of had time to digest, and all the extra info has come out. So here we are. A winner will be decided, at least in this first fight. Next fight will be the entire generation, so we'll see how it goes. All right, so obviously prices and release dates have been announced. We're gonna put that on hold for a moment because a couple other things did happen. First and foremost, this was a pretty big deal. I don't care which side of the fence you were on in this instance. Halo Infinite was delayed into 2021 after a rather negative reception at the Xbox event. Probably the right call. Does not help Xbox in the least. They kind of counter this with Halo Infinite's multiplayer being free to play. That's cool, but again, if it's not coming out till 2021, doesn't matter for the effects of this video. In fact, it kind of hurts Xbox more than anything. This is sort of like, I imagine them like they have this like kind of new punch. Let's just go ahead and say they have a shovel hook, something like that. They haven't really practiced enough, but they're feeling confident, and then they do it and they whiff completely, and they're just like whooshah, and they completely whiff, yeah, and then they catch the counter punch, and they get staggered. They're not going to do that again. Now it's delayed until 2021. Another thing, I normally wouldn't even bring this up, but this generation's been a little weird. PlayStation 4 controllers aren't going to work on PlayStation 5. This hurts Sony. It doesn't hurt, this isn't a big percentage of the population, but I look at people who buy like scuff controllers or custom controllers, like Xbox Elite controller. That works on everything, right? And it's like 150 bucks or 200 bucks. It's insanely expensive. Scuffs are expensive too. Customized controllers are very expensive. And if you bought one, you're out more than 100 bucks more than likely. And if you're out more than 100 bucks and it's not gonna work on the PlayStation 5, well, you're gonna be hurt about it. This does hurt PlayStation a little. I wouldn't even count this as a counterpunch, more of a cockiness, as we will see. Cockiness from Sony as the fight continues. We'll go ahead and say that is like the first minute of the round. Nothing really major to determine anything one way or another, but then it happens. I love the way this happened, actually. This was God, we've been waiting for so long, and finally it just leaks, right? The Xbox Series S starts. It leaks, it's 300 bucks. It's like 2 in the morning my time, and the tweet goes up like, well, why not just make it official? And I love that. It's just like, yes, Microsoft is just like, yeah, it's coming, dude, whatever. At this point, who cares? They had planned to announce it like the next week or whatever. Just do it. Who cares at this point? 300 bucks, that's a pretty good deal. So this is gonna put us in a little bit of a weird spot. So 300 bucks, your move, Sony, is basically what they're saying at that point. They then later go reveal that the actual Series X itself, the big boy, so to speak, is going to be 500, which we had anticipated. We were all ready for this, right? Come on. We wanted to kind of believe maybe 400, but 500 we were ready for it. So that's fine, that's cool. That's not really, that's like a good defense, I guess, kind of baiting Sony in, like, come on, do it. What you got? That's what that was, especially the not $200, the $300 mark. Okay, so Sony's got to do their own thing to kind of counteract this, right? They got to put on a show. They got to show like, hey, you know what? That's a good price, which we knew they weren't going to beat. Let's have an awesome showcase that shows off a bunch of games. Okay, so that happens. Great games. I love how they started with Final Fantasy 16, though I immediately knew it was Final Fantasy 16, and a lot of you probably did as well. It looks very Final Fantasy. The character models, the faces, the hair, it looks very Final Fantasy, really Final Fantasy 14. So we immediately knew that, and that comes out to be an exclusive, console exclusive, forgive me. As we go on, we'll figure out that some of these are actually on PC as well, but this is a console exclusive. Even casual gamers, we're gonna go and put casual into the guys that buy like 3 or 4 games a year. They buy NBA, they buy Call of Duty, they buy games that they can play consistently throughout the year. I don't care, they know what Final Fantasy is. They might not play it, but they know what it is. So that's kind of a big get for Sony. And it is what it is. A couple other games start getting shown. They've got a few exclusives, which is pretty impressive. Resident Evil 8's a weird one. I've been hearing, it's not exclusive for the record, Resident Evil 8 is not. Exclusive to PlayStation 5. I've been hearing weird reports on this one that it's not actually running very well on the PlayStation 5, so we'll see how that goes. But anyways, let's get to the price. We get to the end, and the fat boy, as we will call it, the one with the disk drive, is $500. Yeah, that's what we expected. The one without the disk drive is $400. Now that is, that's a $100 difference for just a disc drive, which makes 0 sense, right? That math doesn't add up in the least. So Sony's taking it, well, for the record, they're all taking a loss. They're both taking losses on these, but the difference being is $300 Series S, and we all know this, I just don't know for processing it. The Series S is $300, it's a weaker machine. The $400 machine for the PlayStation 5 is the same machine, it just doesn't have a disk drive. And they're gonna make up their money on that because we're going to talk about what is it. Okay, so they're about even. If you want the power, you're going to go Series X. I think it's still the more powerful beast, but at the rate these things sold out, we'll get into that in a minute. Sony is currently winning. Of course, Series X and S have not actually gone on sale yet. I'm sure those will sell out as well. But anyways, so there is a little bit of a price difference between the PlayStation 5 and the Series S. It's equal on X and PlayStation 5. Will it make a difference? I don't know. We're gonna have to see on that one because again, these launch titles, I'm sitting here, they got Demon Souls at launch. Now that is a PlayStation 5 exclusive. Got a few waves coming in. That's a pretty good hit. A lot of people love the Souls games. They're not easy, but Demon Souls is one that I have a really good, really special place in my heart for. It's one of the first one I platted, the one I fell in love with. That's what got me hooked on Souls. That's a good, I would say that's probably a good 1-2 combo, to be totally honest. You can say, well, what's the two? I guess you can say Miles Morales. You could say, doesn't have to be Miles Morales, but Miles Morales is actually going to be on PlayStation 4 as well. I got the launch lineups here, so let's go ahead and take a look at that really quick. So Demon Souls is only on PlayStation 5. They did say it was on PC, then they kind of retracted that. It's coming to PC in like a year, probably, if I had to guess. Miles Morales, again, that is going to be on PlayStation 4 as well. You can also buy we'll get into this, buy a $70 version of that game, which comes with the old Spider-Man remastered, right? That can be your 1-2 combo, that's fine. Or Godfall. Godfall's coming as well. I don't know, we're torn on this one. A lot of people seem to be crapping on it, while other people are just like, whatever, I want to play a looter slasher with my friends immediately. And that's what your game's gonna end up being. I think Destiny is coming as well, but whatever. At this point, they also have, this was a low point for me at the event. Devil May Cry 5 Special Editions, Enhanced Edition, whatever, coming to PlayStation. Next, don't even care. I've already played that, don't need to play it again. Astro's Playroom, that's coming in. And then Destruction All-Stars, which is also a $70 game. All of these are $70 games for the record, except for Astro, which is free. And maybe Devil May Cry 5? I don't know, I'd be interested to see what the price is on that. But anyways, so they have a very, 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 very strong lineup, and then they launch right alongside, right in between Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Cyberpunk. So basically when you buy it, you can get Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you can wait a week, and you can get Cyberpunk. I'm getting Demon Souls, that's what I got my pre-order for the record. And they have said that they're putting out more pre-orders. Let's go ahead and get into that. This has been a massive mess up. I don't know what happened. I wish I knew. My cousin works at Best Buy, but obviously he's been, with Corona, he just got back to work, so he doesn't even know what's going on, which sucks, because normally I would have some sort of insight into this. I don't in this instance. The only insight I can is what my gut says, and that would be the fact that when Walmart put theirs up, the rest of the guys were like, we are not falling behind, because we are currently in, maybe a little bit, but we are not falling behind, and then pre-orders just opened, the floodgates opened, and my goodness. It wasn't as bad as the video cards, the new video cards, the 3080s. Those were gone in seconds. PlayStation 5s were gone pretty quickly. The only reason they didn't go so fast is because there's 2 units, right? 2 SKUs. So basically people were picking between the 2 ones. I went with the fat boy, the disc drive, because I figured everyone else would go with I thought that would be my best shot. So that's the one that I got. And I have Demon Souls coming with it. They have today said that they are putting out more consoles and more pre-orders. I don't know. I'm torn because I have been a guy who's waited in line. Like, here's the date, here's where you need to be, here's what you need to do, and maybe you get one. And I've been there. I've been that guy who's sat out there for the PlayStation 3, actually. I sat out at a mall that was like 4 hours away. It was freezing cold. We were in this parking lot, and we get there, and there's only 20 of the consoles. There's 100 people. We don't get it. We just get a little note that says, well, when we get new ones, we'll let you know. That sucks. At the same time, not getting one because you weren't informed of where it was going to be and what time it was going to come out sucks as well. So I don't know if there's a winning situation in this. The guys that got their systems, yeah, they like it. The guys that didn't, don't like it. Series X and X have been handling this much better. Microsoft has been. They said, hey, here's the retailers that are going to get it. Here's the date that they're going to come out. Here's the time that they're going to come out. Don't know if they're all going to stick to that. I hope they do, but we'll see. That is much better. I would put that sort of as a good. There's a point in a fight sometimes, not with professional fighters, but with amateur fighters, where you just kind of get flustered. Sometimes it happens with professionals too, when you're getting completely clowned on. You get flustered, you just kind of, you flail out, you know, the large hooks, the large sweeping swings and things like that. I would say Sony kind of inadvertently did that with their launch here, with their pre-order thing, just kind of flailing out, because it got out of their control. It really did. There was nothing they could do at that point. As soon as those pre-orders were up, what do? Do you cancel everyone up? And no, all right. We messed up, sorry guys. Here we go with more consoles. They're doing what they can to fix it, but it's not, there's only X amount of systems. Not everyone's gonna get theirs. And the problem is scalpers are trying to sell it. Scalpers are the real problem. Let's just be real with each other. But they're not going anywhere, so anyways, that's fine. Okay, so that happened. We're in it now. Sorry if you didn't get a PlayStation 5. I hope you get one if you want one. If not, I hope you get your Series X, whichever. It happened, we're past it. Sony didn't take any major damage from that. In fact, I guess you could say they did better because they sold all their systems. But let's move on to the Xbox real quick. What do they have launching? Well, actually the Series S and X launches on the day of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So they're counting that as a launch title. In fact, Assassin's Creed actually pushed themselves up, which never happens, by the way. You have no idea how happy I was that day. Basically, like, there was a 2-day gap between Assassin's Creed and Cyberpunk. Now it is like a week-long gap, which is just, for guys that cover video games, that is way better, for the record. But it is launching along the Xbox, which is nice, but it's not on Game Pass, which sucks. It's not technically exclusive either. You can go buy that on PlayStation 4. They also have Yakuza Like a Dragon, kind of a more niche title, but Yakuza Like a Dragon. Yakuza is a franchise I very much love. Unfortunately, I'll have to wait until later to play it because there's so much other crap coming out, but it's a pretty good get. The Medium, haven't really seen a ton about this game. I don't think it's a strong launch title, but you need something, there it is. And Gears Tactics, which is technically already out, but is going to be coming on console. So they do have their own launch item. Gears Tactics will be on, of course, Game Pass. I believe the Medium will as well. So there are a couple of Game Pass games that are going to be coming there. And that, as you saw with the difference between these two consoles, that is what they're really trying to do, is get you into Game Pass. Because the other thing is, Microsoft's backwards compatibility, the Series S is not going to have the enhancements, but the backwards compatibility will be there. So if you haven't played a ton of games last gen, you'll be able to bring those games into your Xbox Series X and Series S, even from the 360 era. You can for most PlayStation 4, it's really weird the way they're talking about it. 99% of PlayStation 4 games, 99%, really? Like, where's the list? That's what I want to know, because I think someone's talking out of their ass right now. 99%, what's the 1% that's not gonna make it in? Okay, and you don't even get PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, or PlayStation 1 for whatever reason. I have no idea why they don't want to do backwards compatibility. I guess it's a hassle, it's a chore, but still, I want to play some old RPGs. Anyways, backwards compatibility, Xbox wins that all freaking day. That's a good defensive maneuver in my opinion. But the big thing, the big thing between these two is the fact that Sony has officially announced that their games will be $70 going forward. All of their next generation titles will be $70. That does not seem like a massive bump when you think about it, really, especially if you only buy a couple of games a year. But throughout the entirety of the generation, it's going to add up pretty quickly. Because now they've done it, third parties are not going to have any reason not to do it. We saw it with 2K already. Ubisoft and EA will probably be on the next line with that. I don't see that Microsoft has to do it because of Game Pass. I don't know why they would. This is a slip, is what I would call, like, almost like when you're fighting, and it's like it is the third round technically. You start getting tired, your legs start getting a little wobbly, and when you kind of step to jab, sometimes your knee buckles, or your back leg buckles, something happens, you buckle. And when you buckle, you miss, and you're exposed. And that's what happens when you do $70 games, and your competitor is giving you pretty much all their titles for $10 a month. They slip, they take a hit, but it's not enough to do the KO. The problem, man, the lack of a launch lineup on Xbox Series S and X is really hurting them in this. The long game is what they're playing, but I don't think they're going to win this current year. This is reminding me now, for those of you that don't know, when the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 launched, 360 killed it, like murdered it. However, it did have the red ring of death, which ultimately cost it. But what ended up happening was at the end of the generation, it was close, very close, but PlayStation 3 actually ended up winning by a couple million, 3 or 4 million, I think it was. It wasn't a big gap, but they did end up winning. And that's because they have a bigger presence worldwide. And I think this I keep saying $200. This $300 Xbox is kind of like the Trojan horse. It's getting into people's houses because it's so cheap, and you're going to be able to play these next-gen games as well as the old games for Game Pass. It is a slow burn. We'll see how it goes throughout the entire generation. I actually thought, to be fair, as we wrap this up, I actually thought Sony was just gonna kill them. Straight up come in just like bop, 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 you know, and that's it, they're done. But no, I am gonna ultimately give it to Sony. Launch lineup matters. I know people might not think that, but it does. It matters a ton. Game Pass is great, but I've already played all those games. If you haven't played all those games, maybe Xbox Series X is the one for you, but it's not for me. It's not for people that are hardcore gamers. The casual gamers might enjoy it a little bit more, as I said, as they kind of start buying this S and realizing that there's a big catalog back there, but it's gonna take a long time. They're both gonna sell out in the first year. That's just how it's gonna be. So first year wise, I'm still gonna give it to Sony, because the thing about the $70 price point and the digital version of the PlayStation 5 is this is where Sony wants to go, and they're moving that way. Retailers are still selling the disc one because they're selling at less of a loss, but they want to go to this digital one because at $70 they earn an additional $10 pure profit on digital because you go through their store to buy it, and that's what Sony wants. They want you to, they're like every other game store in the market, like Apple, the whole thing with Fortnite. They want you to pay them as much of the profit as possible, which is where the $70 thing comes from. Yes, the games are more expensive to develop, but they also just want more profit, and they're going to end up doing so. So launch lineup, I know they had a weird, funky pre-order system, but they're bringing out more. Also, I did want to bring up this like PlayStation Plus game thing. They showed it. They got a bunch of free games. It's not like Game Pass. It's sort of like Game Pass. You get all these old PlayStation 4 games that are going to work on your PlayStation 5. They're just part of PlayStation Plus, which again, this is like them getting like, get into the PlayStation Plus, forget about it, and we get more money. The downside to this is I don't know how long they're going to be in that collection. I tried to do a quick little Google search, and freaking hair. It didn't show anything, so I don't know how that's going to go. But while I think it is a lot closer. The fight is a lot closer than I thought it would be. Sony is taking it in my eyes. We'll see how it goes next year. Corona's kind of really messed things up. I think Halo would have helped a lot if it was ready. Or Fable, really anything that was first party and good to go, I really think that would have helped a lot. Sony was just ready. Microsoft, they were banking on one thing and it failed, and it's going to cost them the fight. But as I said, there will be another fight. There always is. We'll probably pick this back up. I don't know. We'll get the, first quarter 2021. We'll see how it goes. What I think I'm going to wait for is actually Xbox's first big title, which I imagine will be Halo. We'll see. I want to see how that does on the MPD. I want to see, because games, as I said, are technique. And Sony has a ton of technique right now. But it won't matter as much if you get the little Trojan horse in there and you get the sweet little counter, and that's it. But at the moment, Sony has too much technique, is overwhelmed by Xbox, or is overwhelming the Xbox right now. As I said, they will both sell out, but in the end of this fight, this end of this championship round, I know it's only round 3, but we're only going 3 rounds because I don't want to do this again until we actually get these two in our hands and see what's going on, because for all we know, one of these dudes could have the ring of death, right? And that's gonna hurt. But for now, the sort of pre-fight before the big fight, the second fight, I guess, Sony takes it. Anyways, it was a lovely day. Now, I love this type of day because there's hardly anyone on the lake. You don't hear no kids screaming. Boats are nice and chill. It's actually a little chilly, but hey, it is what it is. It is getting to fall. Let me know what you think. Let me know which one you were buying. Let me know if you're able to get your Ps5, if that's what you're trying to get, or this whole, we have a lot of people talking in Discord about it, and we're trying to exchange information, like, here, you can get one here. It's basically us going back and forth, trying to help people out because of how much of a mess it is. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you think, who's gonna win ultimately, let me know who you think has won this first little fight here. As I said, I gave it to Sony. They just got too much power, too much technique. And we'll see what happens again, probably, as I said, next quarter, 2021 quarter, which technically doesn't start until March, but anyways, or the end of March. But if you liked what you saw and got what you needed, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later, Gators.